So I never thought I'd be doing another Bleach chapter review again. Now, in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is chapter 1 from the upcoming novel, or I guess it technically is already out. It's called We Do Not Always Love You. It's from Bleach. It's basically the one that I was talking about in a couple videos already. That is going to be about Rukia and Renji's wedding. We got chapter 1 at the very least translated. Now, depending on how I feel about the next few chapters or whatever, or how it's released from here on out, I might do more reviews like this, just the chapters, or I might just review the entirety of it after we talk about this prologue and chapter 1 of this, novel. Now, to start off, first things first, of course, if you don't know about novels, which you should, there is no images, so there's only text. This is basically, a novel. It's basically a book, so don't get frustrated. And honestly, I feel as though with this particular video, for those that are not novel readers and won't read it or whatever, at the very least, I can help you get an idea of what's going on in this novel, so that's kind of good. But yeah, just wanted to give a heads up for that, because I know there's going to be people saying, where's my fucking images? I want my cool drawings. Sorry, bud, this is a light novel. So this story takes place 3 years after the end of the war in Bleach. This is prior to the time skip that we had, the big 10-year one, but this is 3 years after. So it's like almost, you could say, close to the middle of in between what happened at the end of the war. And of course, the last couple chapters we had where we had the big 10-year time skip and Rukia and Renji were together and Rukia got promoted and stuff like that. This is still early on before all those events took place. And I gotta be honest with you, with this at the very least first chapter, it definitely felt very chill. It was kind of still, because you gotta remember all the carnage that took place because of Bach. Bach fucked up the Sarate really, really bad. Like, come on, like everything him and the Stern Brothers did, they almost destroyed that damn place. So you gotta think, only 3 years after, they're still in the process of rebuilding. They're still in the process of getting things structured together. I think even in the 10-year time skip, they just said like, hey, we're finally starting to get things back on track. So only 3 years after, they're still in the process of getting everything sorted, picking out new people to take positions, and things of that nature. And the chapter starts off talking about the Soul Academy. It's kind of slow, honestly, for a first chapter of this novel. Now, granted, I'm not a big novel reader, so I don't know if, like, a lot of, especially the Bleach novels, do this, whatever, but it starts off, you're talking about a character that isn't really that known. I honestly don't even know if he was just made up for this novel or not. He was apparently a third seat of the 5th Division. His name is Genji, and he had to step down because apparently in the war he got his legs blown off, so he can't do his quick flash step or whatever, so he had to basically settle for, hey, I'm a teacher now, and his interactions with Kita Izuru, because his first chapter, the most interesting thing, to be honest with you, is getting more of what happened with Kita Izuru, because last time we saw that motherfucker, he was fighting some crazy chicken, you know what I'm saying? So it's been a while, and from what we understood when we last seen him, he was basically saying that he's a dead man, and he's basically like a cyborg, so to speak. Well, he kind of inferred it, and this first chapter basically emphasized it, because a lot of this first chapter, it kind of seems as though since that war, Izuru's life has been completely changed, because now he's more like a cyborg. And I don't know if it's necessarily just because of the giant hole on the side of him, and how he had like those nasty rods sticking out or whatever, or it's just more so that since the time skip, his look has gotten even worse, because based on the chapter, it seems as though everybody is revolted by Izuru's appearance. It seems as though like they're just like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So I'm kind of curious what it is that they're, just disgusted by. Again, could it be because of those rods, which technically he could just kind of hide it, right? He could just put on a captain's cloak or something. But then again, if he's in some sort of experiment, they might not actually say that's, okay to do. Maybe they just want him to be full on a cyborg. So you can definitely see that his life has been impacted greatly. Apparently he lost 30% of his body when that shit went down, which I'm shocked that he's even around. But hey, he's a cyborg now. We got fucking cyborg. Teen Titans go, hey! And apparently Izuru gave a lecture as well to the class, because again, this first chapter focuses in on seeing the academy. And apparently a couple of other Shinigami like Renji and I think Hinamori in the past have actually talked to this class. So it's Izuru's turn. And again, it just feels like, holy fucking shit. Even though, yeah, they won the war at the end, Ichigo beat your watch and all that good shit, he left a lot of permanent damage. Izuru's life is fucked from here on out. He's basically a guinea pig from Mayuri and shit like that. So yeah, everything ain't peachy keen for all the characters. Maybe Ichigo went and got laid from that big-breasted bitch, like, that stupid pinhead. He had a great fucking time, but Izuru's life is absolute shit. People look at him in disgust. He's just drained emotionally, and he's an experiment now. And then of course we had the conversation between Izuru and Genji, which again, the Genji character is like, I don't even remember him. Maybe he was around in Bleach, but there were a lot of side, you know, divisions and stuff like that that I didn't really care about. I believe he was in Shinji's class, if I'm not mistaken, or in Shinji's division. So yeah, I don't really remember this guy, but sounds like he got fucked too. Motherfucker lost his goddamn legs in the war. So you got one dude that lost his legs in the war. You got another dude that lost 30% of his body in the war. Yeah, that's one of the things that I did enjoy about this first chapter of this novel, is that it showcases the permanent damage that was done by your watch to the Serite and to a lot of these people. Everybody didn't escape unscathed. There's people that their lives are completely fucked from here on out because of that war. And then it left us off with a cliffhanger about Renji sending an email. Honestly, my theory about that is, remember, this is a whole wedding thing. Maybe he's sending him an invite to the wedding, or maybe he's asking him to be the best man. Personally, I think if anything, he would ask Ichigo to be the best man. So more than likely it's him sending an invitation to the wedding. Hey, I want you to come, bring your fucking cyborg crusty ass up in here and, you know, help us with this wedding. So that's what I'm assuming. Honestly, for first chapter of the novel, I'm kind of switching my expectations, because I thought at the very least we would get a small little smidget of action of some sort, but it seems as though at the very least for this one, maybe the next novel is going to be totally different, because based on the description we got for the Hisagi novel, we're supposed to get some action, and there's a new thread and stuff like that, and possibly we would see Hisagi's Bankai, and even the past of the Soul King. So there was different expectations, but with this one, it looks like it could potentially just be really like slice of life, because I mean, first chapter alone is Izuru just kind of talking to a class, and of course it could be the calm before the storm. Maybe there's going to be a little bit of a threat at the wedding or something like that, or maybe the wedding itself could be the whole big tension. Maybe possibly Rukia or Renji get cold feet, which I can more so see Rukia getting cold feet than Renji. Renji will just be there like an idiot, like, hey, I'm about to pound this bitch. But I could see Rukia kind of walking out on it. So that could be the whole conflict in this novel. But based off, again, what I read with chapter 1, my expectations from here on out is it's not going to be like the Bleach that we want to see in a sense of the action and stuff like that. We're not going to get that. We're more so going to get like the characters' lives afterward. At the very least for this novel, we're going to get, you know, Izuru. We're going to get the wedding. Maybe there's going to be some tension there at the wedding. But I think that's going to be the extent of it, because it ending off with a cliffhanger of, I got an email from Renji. What could this be? It's not like Renji's going to say, yo, meet me in the back. I'm going to fuck you up. So yeah, that's my expectations. And if you're not going to read this because it's a novel, it's not a manga or an anime, then I definitely recommend just watch this video. And if I do one more on the actual novel itself, you'll get the idea of what it was. Because this first chapter, it was mainly just like slice of life. Like, hey, this is what's going on with Izuru after war. This is what's going on with a couple other people. They're still rebuilding the Serite. This is 3 years after. This is what's going on. This is when the wedding happened, how Rukia and Renji got together, etc, etc. So for first chapter, if I had to give it a score, maybe I'd say 6 to a 7, nothing fancy, nothing big or whatever. Let me know what you guys think though. If you read this first chapter, how do you feel about this? You think that the novel's going to just be mainly like this? There's not going to be any big threat or anything like that, which I really wouldn't expect there to be a big threat. I mean, we just had a war where so many casualties were, you know, killed or whatever, and we just had so much carnage that I don't really see us having a big threat. And if you haven't, are you just gonna like check these videos out? What do you think about what I described thus far? I think it's kind of like, it felt a bit slow, I'm not gonna lie, but again, it is, you know, the warm-up of us coming back to Bleach, so there's that. And what are your expectations considering the fact that now you know that this novel at the very least is this way? Do you think that the Hisagi novel isn't going to live up to the hype? Because to be honest with you, I'm still going to have high hopes at the very least for the Hisagi one, which is very interesting because I was initially more excited about this Rukia and Renji one, and I'm still kind of interested. It just seems as though I'm more so going to switch my expectations, but I'm still excited for the Hisagi one and stuff like that, because I mean, I think that's going to be a bit better. And as far as this whole thing goes, do you think that there's going to be some cold feet? Because, I mean, it is a story. They do got to tell something interesting. It can't just be, hey, they had a wedding and stuff like that. So I think there is going to be some sort of conflict. I do think, based off the title, we do not always love you, with the KNOT, which is kind of like, you know, tying the knot, shit like that. I think it's going to be maybe Rukia is kind of questioning it, maybe because of all the war, maybe because of her wanting to continue being a Soul Reaper and not just like, hey, I'm going to go be a housewife now, which she ultimately doesn't. Maybe there's going to be some conflict there. I think that's going to be the main focus of this story, and it's not going to have necessarily a big baddie, but that's going to be the drama, which I could definitely see some Bleach fans being turned off, because a lot of people like Bleach for the action. They don't really go for it, you know, for the drama necessarily, or the slice of life stuff. So there's going to be that. And the overall excitement, honestly, I'm still looking forward to this. I'm definitely going to finish reading it. If we get one more chapter like that, if it gets released in that way, then maybe I'll review them chapter per chapter, or again, I might just, you know, review the whole thing when it's over, or when I get my hands on it, or whatever the case may be. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and stalk my Facebook to get more when the video ends. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Rukia and Renji are about to get married. Shit's real.